Hello everypony! If you're an artist, I'm sure you've been given some art advice, whether you wanted it or not. This has happened to me more times than I can count, and while some advice did help me, most of it did not. So let's go over some of the worst advice / art opinions I've ever heard. Number 1, only make realistic art because it's the only kind of art that makes money in the long run. This is so dumb. Oh my gosh, I can't even fathom someone thinking this unironically. Multi-million-dollar industries are built off of art that's not realistic. I've heard this mainly from family who aren't artists, who mainly see their art on Facebook of dogs made in charcoal. Like, I don't understand this at all. It makes no sense to me. Realistic art obviously has its place to be sold, but you're gonna see more cartoony art at conventions than you are realistic art. Every type of art has its time and place, and every type of art has value. Saying you can only make money off of realistic art is just such an ignorant thing to say. Number 2, cartoony art is only for children / anime is for kids. This ties into the last one perfectly, I think. If you truly believe that only children can enjoy / make cartoony art, I don't know how I can have a conversation with you. If you believe this, you probably also believe that cartoons can't be for adults, in which case I'll direct you towards the hundreds of animated adult movies / shows that exist. And I'm not just talking about Family Guy, okay? There are incredibly cartoony stylized shows and movies for adults that are well written and genuinely good. I actually have someone in my life that believes that cartoons can only be for kids, and I feel like that's only because of the generational gap older people have, because they tend to view cartoons as a kid-only thing, which is just so silly in my opinion. I also follow a lot of artists on Instagram that make super duper cartoony art, but are obviously not made for kids exclusively. Cartoony art is for everyone, regardless of what your weird family members say. Number 3, just draw and you'll get better. This one seems like it would be good advice on the surface, but let's go down this road together. So, you've been drawing for years, just drawing whatever you want and without direction. Your lines have gotten straighter and cleaner, you're pretty decent at what you draw on a surface level, and you want to get better. You could 1, continue to draw what you normally do in the way you normally do, and you'll continue to get very slightly better at drawing that one thing that one way. Or 2, you could focus your energy on learning how to make the thing you like to draw look better by practicing more than just that one thing. Drawing without direction is super fun and cool, but your art isn't gonna get better that way very quickly. If you don't care about that, I think that's okay, like that's fine, but I feel like that's just really bad advice to give to people. Number 4, it's cheating to use references and you shouldn't use them. I feel like I shouldn't have to explain this one, but I guess I will. Using references is the industry standard. That's just a fact. References are super important if you want to learn to see like an artist. Here's an example of a drawing I did with and without a reference. Which do you think looks better? Because it's very obvious in my opinion. So yeah, just insanely bad art advice. Materials equal good art or bad art. This one kind of pisses me off. This mindset leads artists to feel like they can't make good art without the most expensive mediums and brands. Some of the coolest art I've seen has been made of trash, cheap supplies, and hard work. If you're not rich enough to afford a Wacom, your phone with a cheap stylus could work. It wouldn't be the best, but you could still make art. If you can't afford amazing paint or brushes, it'll be harder to work with, but that's okay. You can still make amazing art with limited supplies, and I often find limitations in art to be good and pushes people to do creative things with what they have. So, no, supplies don't equal talent, and if you believe that, I'm assuming you've just never been poor. Number 6, if you can't draw from imagination, you're a fake artist. Okay, so this one has always felt like a personal attack to me specifically, because I genuinely have a hard time imagining stuff in my brain. I get like super vague ideas of what I want, and then I find references to help get the vision to its full potential. What do you mean I have to imagine something and just draw it? Every time I do, it ends up looking like trash, so I just think that's not a fair opinion to have. Not everyone's brain works the same, and not everyone will do art the same, and that's okay. Number 7, never give up on a piece, see it through to the end. Look, sometimes your ideas just don't work out. It's a simple but hard fact to accept. I feel like because of that, artists will drive themselves crazy drawing and redrawing the same idea over and over again. I've definitely fell down that rabbit hole many times before, and it just left me frustrated and feeling like there was something wrong with me. Sometimes, you just have to walk away for your sanity. That doesn't mean you're a bad artist. Good artists can tell when an idea needs to be reworked or be scrapped entirely. Failing is a good thing and will help you grow. I know it's hard to let go sometimes, but you'll feel a lot better in the long run in my experience. All you have to do is make bad art, and the good art will come with practice. Number 8. Never take shortcuts. It's cheating. Okay, but what even counts as a shortcut and not a feature? In digital art, shortcuts like certain brushes, shading layers, and even multiply layers in general could be considered bad in this context. Just think though, there are features to make the art process not only easier, but also less stressful for artists. If life can be easier for artists in any way, why wouldn't you be happy about that? Why do people insist that doing things the hard way is better even though it's less efficient and less enjoyable? People that say this confuse me so much. Like, where's the line? What's the limit? I guess we'll never know. What I do know is that this is very bad advice. Number 9. You should go to art school because that's the only way to be a successful artist. Art school simply just isn't for everyone. Let's be honest, most artists nowadays have endless knowledge in their pockets all of the time. Why would you pay thousands of dollars to get the same info you can get on your phone? That's not to say that art school doesn't have a place in the world, but people put way too much pressure on others to go to school that might not even help them. People are different. Simple as that. And the fact that people don't acknowledge that most of the time is so crazy to me. Like, college can be great for some, but for others it's just not the choice. Anyways, the last bad art advice I've heard over the years is... Number 10. Draw even if you feel like dying when you do. I understand the sentiment behind this one, I really do, but this advice can be kinda damaging. It's important to push yourself to draw sometimes, and that's the truth, but it's also true that forcing yourself to draw all of the time when you don't want to will lead to making art you don't like. Which is also fine, you're not always gonna like your art, but doing this will lead to most of your art feeling subpar rather than just a few out of the bunch. At least, that's what I and a couple of people I've known in the past have experienced. So yeah, that was the worst advice and opinions I've ever heard over my years of living about art. I hope you all enjoyed. Please like and subscribe if you wanna, and if you have any notes, suggestions, or your own bad advice / opinions experiences, comment down below. I'll see you all next time. Bye!